everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to do an in-depth flip through and review of the Folio Society editions for the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. So of course this series consists of Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassin, and last but not least we have Assassin's Quest. So when you buy these editions from the website of Folio Society, you get them in this beautiful slipcase, but it is a quite serene slipcase. There isn't really anything special to it, so if you do expect a lot of illustrations, either outside or inside, you're not really going to get them. This slipcase is in a beautiful burgundy red. It's a little bit lighter than the books, but I do like that contrast. And other than that, there's not really anything special to it. You do have the title on one side, so the Farseer trilogy, then you have these little dots, almost star-like, and you do have these dots on the books as well, so I do like that continuity. The title as well as these little stars are debossed, so they are a little bit deeper set than the rest of the cloth-like material. But other than that, there's not really anything special to this slipcase, so you're not going to buy this edition for the slipcase, but it is quality-wise very good, and you can definitely feel that it's sturdy. I think at this point, this is the only higher-end quality edition of this trilogy that is readily available. So if you want to have a little bit more quality than the Del Rey illustrated editions, for example, I do think this is the way to go. All of these have 5 full-color illustrations that take up one page, so you do have 15 illustrations in total for this trilogy, and I will show you them in a minute, but first we are going to look at the outside of the books. So like I said, this is the first one, this is Assassin's Apprentice, and as you can see, we have some gold detailing here. We have the stars that are in golden, and then of course we have our stag here. We do have different types of materials, so this here, the red, is cloth, and then this is a lot smoother, and this is all debossed. So the red cloth-like material is definitely the highest one, and then here you can definitely feel different edges, and you can feel how this is on top, but it is a little bit deeper than the red cloth, and I really love how this looks and how luxurious that this feels. Then here, of course, we have the spine, the first one, so Robin Hobb, Assassin's Apprentice. And what I really like here is that you have this one star, because it's, of course, the first in the trilogy. Then here you have the Folio Society logo. Now, on the back, you don't really have anything interesting. It's just this burgundy red, and it's just nothing really special. I would have liked if there was just maybe a quote here. It could have been the same quote for all 3 of the books, but just something instead of this a little bit more boring red, I suppose. Then here we have the second book in the trilogy, so this is Royal Assassin, and here we have the details in silver instead of in golden, but other than that, the exterior looks quite the same, and it really adds nicely to the first one. And here, of course, we have a wolf, and if you know, you know. And other than that, it's just the same quality as the first one. Here we have the spine, so Robin Hobb, of course, and then we have Royal Assassin, and here we have the 2 dots, because of course, it's the second one in the trilogy. And then the third one in the trilogy, so Assassin's Quest. Here we have a dragon on the front. Other than that, it's quite similar as the other ones. And in terms of color, I can't really tell you what this color is. It's not gold, it's not silver, it's a little bit in between. I want to say rose gold maybe, but the 3 spines together do look pretty nicely. And here we have this spine, the last one, so Robin Hobb. We have again the dragon with the eye. That's also this rose gold. Assassin's Quest, and the 3 dots, because it's the third one in the trilogy. Now, before we go to the inside and show you all of the illustrations, I do want to say something about size, because I do have a mass market paperback here, and as you can see, of course, the Folio Society editions are a lot bigger, which you would expect, because mass market paperback is tiny, but I also have a hardcover. This is just a normal sized hardcover, and as you can see if I align them, the Folio Society editions are a little bit higher, but they're also a little bit wider. And it's just a small difference, but it really helps to add to the luxurious feel that you have. And it doesn't really add to having a difficulty to read them, because I don't think that you will read them lying in the couch anyway. You will probably sit at your desk, even if you will read them, because I do know that a lot of people will probably not open them up to read, but just look at the illustrations. So if they're a little bit bigger, they add to the luxurious feel, and they also make the illustrations pop out a little bit more. So that's everything for the outside of these 3 books. Now take a look at the inside. So starting with the first one here, of course, like I said, Assassin's Apprentice. When we open it up, this is the same for all of the books. So we do have very dark gray end papers. It's not black, but it's very dark gray. And it would have been maybe nice if they just added something here instead of just one color and that's it. But I do think that it adds very nicely to the burgundy red, and it adds to that serene feeling that I do think fits the trilogy. Then here we have the title, so Assassin's Apprentice, book 1 of the Farseer trilogy. I don't know if you can see it, but this is in red, and I really like that they chose red. Throughout the book, most of the font is of course in black, but you do have sometimes these red embellishments, which I quite enjoyed looking at, and I do think again that this adds to the feeling. All of these pages are super thick, by the way, and they are just a little bit broken white. You can almost not see it. It's a little bit of cream color, but it's not just white, and it really adds to the softness of your eyes. I know that these are just very much details, but if you add them up, they do make the reading experience just a little bit more nice. Then here you do have an index page of the illustrations. As you can see, illustrations here is also in red, and then here you have the page numbers, and as you can see, there's also a little bit red here as well. Then we have a small introduction to Robin Hobb, who Robin Hobb is. And then we have an introduction to the trilogy, and this is written by Robin Hobb. So that's also quite nice. These are a couple of pages. Then this is something that you have in all of the books. So you have a 2-page full map of the 6 duchies. This is again with black and red. And I would have liked it a little bit more maybe if there was more colors. But at the other side, I do like the consistency of using only black and red throughout the entire book. And I also like that you have the towers, you have the towns, and you have the borders. So if you want, you can really look a lot at this map and look at the different places that you have, and you will definitely also recognize some. Here you have the Chalced states. So stuff like that, the Rainwild, for example, Bingtown. You do have a lot in this map to discover. Then here we have the first chapter. So as you can see, the first letter is in red. Then you have here the number of the first chapter in red. And again, like I said, you have a little bit of red when you look at the page numbers. Now, I would have liked it maybe if we had just something here, a small sigil, for example, to just make the start of a new chapter more special than what we have now. But all in all, I can't really complain because I've said this before, but I like the serenity of this entire trilogy and of this entire edition, and I do think that it fits the theme of the books nicely. Now, when we then go to the illustrations, so like I said, we have 5 in total. This is, and I won't tell you what this is for if you haven't read the books, that it's not really a spoiler, but beautiful illustration here. And little dog. Found another illustration. So here, of course, I think that most people, even if you haven't read the books, you know who this is supposed to be. But another full color illustration. Here we have our 3rd illustration. So if you've read the books, you know what's going on here. And if not, I don't really consider this a spoiler. And I don't think that anybody can know what happened here if you haven't read the books, to be honest. I think that we have 2 more illustrations to go in this one. I can already see a little bit here. Yes, another very nicely done illustration. This is, by the way, it's very shiny. This is more like paper that you have for pictures, and this is different than the paper that you have to read on. So it's not the easiest to film without glare, but I think that you can nicely see the illustrations. And then our last one. So I think at the very least, this first book has illustrations that are, in my opinion, completely spoiler-free. I will definitely let you know beforehand for the second one or the third one if there are illustrations that are spoiler-filled so that you can skip those parts. So then for the second book, I will not go over this map and everything again because, like I said, it's the same for all of the books. But I will try to find the illustrations. We will see. It's only 5, so it's not the easiest to find them, but I think that there is one here. Yes. So again, I would not call this a spoiler. If you haven't read the books, you don't really know what's going on. Plus, most people have heard at least something about what's happening here, I think. I do really like that the colors are quite introvert. They're definitely not popping. I think that this might not be everybody's cup of tea, but for me it fits. Very difficult to film this without glare, but I think, yes, that we have something. I do think that sometimes I would have liked the illustrations to be a little bit lighter. So I do like that it's more cream tones and that it's not very bright or popping, but just to have it a little bit lighter and not that dark, because I think that this would let us see some more details. Here, for example, this is lighter, so I can see at least a little bit more. I really like this illustration. And up until this point, most of them are really spoiler-free. But I think that for the last one, we might have big spoilers. But on the other hand, if you see what's on top at the cover of the last one, then you already know a big thing. So if you don't consider that to be spoilers, I don't think that the pictures will be spoilers. This is probably one of my favorite ones, to be honest. I love the fire and how just all of this is shown. This is my favorite illustration thus far. This feels like a picture, but it's not. I think we have one more to show you. Yes, this one. This is definitely a darker one. I wasn't expecting all of the illustrations to be that dark when I first got them. And I mean dark not in terms of the colors. Like I said 5 seconds ago, that some of these are dark, so you can't really see what's going on. This you can definitely see what's going on, but the theme is quite dark, I think. But it's beautifully drawn. It's really a work of art. So those are the 5 in the second book. And then the illustrations for the third and final book. So again, you do have the map and everything in all of these. I think that the first illustration is here. So this is pretty far into the book that you have your first illustration. Of course, you only have 5 per book. And that first book is pretty thin. So you have 5 illustrations for maybe 300 pages, but this book is very big. So you need to spread out the illustrations more. And I maybe wish that they just added a couple more in these bigger books. Maybe one that's like 2 pages, like what you have in the A Song of Ice and Fire Folio Society editions. Beautiful. I really like the clouds at the background here. This is also one that I quite enjoy because you have nighttime, but then you also have that fire, and I really like that contrast that we have here. They do definitely keep the same color scheme for all of the illustrations throughout the 3 editions, so they don't really make any exceptions, they don't really change anything. It's all very much matched to each other. Here, the purple is really beautiful. I think that this will be the last one. So of course, I will have probably said on screen that this is going to be a little bit spoiler. I don't consider this spoiler because you do have a dragon at the front, so I mean, what do you expect? I would expect to have a dragon in the book then as well, but yeah, if that's spoiler, then this is spoiler, of course. So those are all of the illustrations in the third book. So to give my small review for these 3 editions, I do think that the quality here is top notch. You really can't say anything about, the cloth that has been used, the different layers that you have for each of the books. I really like the thickness of the paper. I like that you have these red prints throughout a little bit, and then especially at the beginning of a title, for example. I love the illustrations. But I do think that they might have been able to do a little bit more with it, especially with the slipcase. It would have been nice if there was a very serene illustration maybe at the middle of the slipcase, so either outside or inside. It doesn't really need to be very extravagant because that wouldn't fit the trilogy, but even if it was just something like this that you have here, for example, something here very simple, maybe a dragon and a wolf and a stag together, and to have that on the slipcase would have definitely helped. Like I said in the beginning, I would have also liked maybe just to have a small quote on the back, to not just have a very empty back that feels maybe like it's a missed opportunity. I would have also liked to have more spoiler-filled illustrations, because I could have shown you all of these illustrations, maybe minus 1 that I have set in the video, and all of them are pretty meaningless if you haven't read the books. There are definitely scenes that I would have liked to see in the books that would have been more heartfelt, and that would have been spoilers, so this video would have been harder to make maybe, but I do think that that would have fit better. So all in all, there are just some small issues, I wouldn't say, but just some small negative points that I would say and how they could have improved it. But all in all, quality through the roof. beautiful illustrations, and I definitely recommend this trilogy, and I do think that it's worth its money.